Abusia me hunu video bi. A Nigerian man bi ana ni video ewa abonten. Na according to video no, nipa na yebeka na asem na oye billionaire. Awone Michael Jackson mu nyina ye adwuma da o big companies ene wona o ma ye adwuma. Sisi ya ye kasa yi wabepiem ewo ne kurom Nigeria. Na oton graphic ewo kwan ho. Aye question kofu mebre na abucha se na billionaire pa say na ye den obepie kwan ho a woton graphic sa. Manfo busa nti ema eye one media house bi ekọ ne nchen ekoteki documentary of eye papa yi ebusa na question say eye den wa free eye Grace Aba Grass muni sa no mane o me eye den ne siye a ba bia no wo ene sika no wo billionaire pa no ba beto fom tim sa no edien ne kotam sa issue ede baaye ono abeka na bakosem akirikirim de ekusi ye kofa baaye nyina adesuade mebre e wo video we mu ntina me publish na enipa tie bia no obi so atima pick information be the film dia born one bra me ma pick bi because my video na che almost be 2-3 weeks na me saka video ma hwesa me kai me hwe na me kai papa ne nsam wo ka na mani kura atete me ya sure say won so hwe abusua bi e de film almost 22 minutes obetima the time na wa video na kwa akosi.
Hello ebusiafo, so pesi feature asra chodo for there and then na fa ho kodom unique laser whitening. Unique laser whitening. Our toothpaste strong kwa. What did you choose? Say, Emma was saying eye fita. Na eye fita non so no. Na eyi and carbonate beer ewo no mu beer. Any tea stain, coffee stain, smoking stain si beer. Unique laser whitening product. Ebe yi ni nyina free so ama o kama. The oba ni say utu so na o de bi egu o brush do so. Na o de chuchu se ni so nyina kama. Uvia and who wenum January wenum sa into for unique laser whitening. I was 07999792330. Unique laser whitening. Or say Muni
in Canada. Yeah, that's in Canada.
This man went from being a billionaire to becoming broke. Oh, yeah, you heard me right. He was a millionaire with nice cars and a nice house, living in an affluent area with a lot of money. Not only that, he owned his companies and also worked for major companies in the world, including Toyota and many more. His wife worked on the most popular movie known as The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind on Netflix. But now, he has become a mobile billboard. Due to cancer exacerbated his life, he sold everything he owned. Everything changed for him today, and his life is now very different.
Like now, I know I'm a farmer. I'm going to be a farmer. I'm planning to be a farmer. I'm doing to be a farmer. You'll be surprised. One of the biggest problems I came through was a problem of debt. I had some debts which I was unable to pay, and they kept on growing. And that brought a lot of stress. And you know, one of the things about cancer is, by the way, it's caused by stress.
His life was brimming with valuable lessons that eventually inspired him to pen a book about the remarkable journey he had experienced.
So this and this, after the operation at Nairobi Hospital in 2013, this is when I was attending radiotherapy in India. This is a hospital called Medanta.
We encountered numerous individuals who once enjoyed wealth, but then found themselves grappling with adversity. If it's not the first time you've watched our videos, you may know a woman called Dorcas from Kenya. She went from being a millionaire then, becoming very poor, to the point where she was left homeless. Similarly, there's the story of Beatrice, who had a luxurious life in America, but later returned to her native Kenya, only to experience extreme poverty. These stories highlight the ups and downs that people can encounter on the path of life. But for this man, it is very different because he has a unique, difficult life that led him to write a book about his life. I even read this book myself, and I bet at the end of this video, you will be curious to read his book too. This is the story of a man who went from being a billionaire to selling books in the street.
My name is Richard Kiundi, also called the Duke of Emali, a beautiful town somewhere along Mombasa Road in Makueni County.
Richard's
I wrote this
upbringing
book,
was in a modest
couple of
family,
years
but
ago.
a fortunate opportunity allowed him to
Ago.
attend a quality school in Kenya. His life story unfolded much like that of many other young men. He went through the usual experiences, attending high school and eventually earning his university degree. It was when he embarked on his journey into the working world that the tale of his life truly began.
The time I spent at the university, my experiences at the University of Nairobi, of course after the high school ones, how I was employed in the civil service, did my bit in various districts of Kilifi and Taita Taveta. Then I was transferred to Kisii, and one time, as I was doing something before I reported to Kisii, as I was, this is interesting. As I came on duty from Taita Taveta to Nairobi, and then in the evening I went for a drink at Nairobi West. There was a bar called Jean's Bar. I don't know if it's still there. And over a drink, I found a friend who was working in Nairobi, an accountant like myself, but he was much older. As we were discussing, I told him I would never work in Nairobi because it is too expensive. And he asked me jokingly, how much would you be paid to come to Nairobi? And that time I was in job group J. I was getting about 4,500 shillings per month. So I quoted a salary 4 times that. I said, if I get 4,500 times 4, that was roughly about 18,000. I'll come to work in Nairobi. This gentleman told me, come to my office tomorrow morning at Toyota Kenya. It's at a roundabout, Nyayo National Roundabout. Nyayo Stadium, National Stadium Roundabout. And I went to the office and I got a job. So I came to Nairobi.
Once Richard began his job at Toyota Kenya, he found himself enjoying his work immensely. His impeccable conduct and innovative contributions made his time there truly enjoyable. His life took a turn for the better. He was a husband and father of 2, and his newfound financial stability allowed him to provide for his family comfortably. Furthermore, he experienced personal growth and development, steadily climbing the career ladder as he earned promotions day by day.
I joined Toyota Kenya in 1987 as an assistant accountant. And over time, I was promoted because of some of the innovations that I was able to introduce in how things were being done at the company. So that by 1992, I was promoted to be chief accountant of one of the divisions, which was called Yamaha division, which was dealing with Yamaha motorbikes. Again, as I said in the book, I have put a lot of those details. Later on, I was promoted as the operations manager in another division called Rhino Motors, which was based at Hurlingham, actually where there is the Java today, the petrol station. That used to be Rhino Motors, and I was the general manager for that. Then after a while, I decided to change jobs. Or rather, I got an opportunity because I was finding the pressure in the private sector was too much. It was beginning to affect my health. And so I wanted to change to something less strenuous. So I resigned from Toyota Kenya in at the end of January 1995. And then again, one of those interesting things, I went for a drink in a place where we used to meet friends somewhere off Ngong Road. Sorry, not Ngong Road, off Jogoo Road, called Hamza. There's a bar there called Muingo wa Kaiti. It means across a certain river in Ukambani called Kaiti. It's a famous river, and it belonged to some people who come from that area. So I went there in the afternoon for a drink, and I found another friend. And as we were talking, I told him I resigned from work the previous month. This was around the 2nd or 3rd of February. And he worked for Kenya Pipeline. He was the operations manager for Kenya Pipeline. He told me, we are looking for an accountant. If you want a job, I can connect you to the chief accountant. That's how I got my second job. So the first job I got from a bar in Nairobi West. This second one I'm getting from a bar on Jogoo Road. I found it very interesting. Anyway, so I joined the pipeline and I worked. I joined pipeline as an accountant 3, accountant 2. I can't remember exactly, but I was job group 7. And again, I used my knowledge to change a lot of things, that the way things are done in Kenya Pipeline, because I was put in accounting for oil products. And I changed the way it is done. Again, I've detailed that in the book. And I was promoted so fast that by 1999, I was chief accountant, job group 3. And then I was transferred to head office in charge of statutory matters, taxes and salaries and all that. And then something happened and I was removed from my job I think in February 2003.
At a certain point, health issues forced Richard to put a pause on his career, but it's important to note that his professional journey had seen continuous progress, thanks to his outstanding conduct and performance. Before he set out on his life's journey in Nairobi, Richard already had a family, a loving wife, and their first child. However, it was in Nairobi that life began to improve even further, bringing the blessing of a second child. As a dedicated family man, Richard's aim was to provide a comfortable and prosperous life for his loved ones. Through his diligent work, he achieved just that. His generous salary enabled him to acquire not one, not two, but 3 cars and a beautiful home. Additionally, his 4 children were able to attend prestigious, high-quality schools. Richard's wisdom and insight made him a role model for many around him. People admired and sought to emulate his exemplary qualities. But as life sometimes unpredictably unfolds, there are moments when we have little control over its course. Unfortunately, Richard's health issues became an obstacle, preventing him from continuing on the path he had diligently forged.
That was in 2013. Actually, 2013 was not a very good year for me. One of the days early in the year, as I was walking around Nairobi, I got a pain in my chest. And I got into a clinic and I was told, after being checked, the ECGs and all that, I was told to quickly, actually what the doctor said is, she asked me, do you have a personal doctor? I said, yes, because I'm diabetic, I have a doctor. I said, doctor, what you do now, check yourself to a big hospital and call your doctor. So of course I panicked. This was in Midtown, so I grabbed a cab. I went to Nairobi Hospital and fortunately also my doctor was around there. So I went to her and told her what I've been told. And she referred me to a cardiologist. The cardiologist did a small test at his clinic, which is also in the same place, Doctor's Plaza, and he immediately admitted me in HDU. Apparently, I was having a mild stroke. That was in February 2013. So I was in HDU for 3 days, and then the general ward, private ward, but you know where the other people, for 5 days. I spent 7 days in hospital. Then later on in March, the same thing happened again. This time I spent 5 days in HDU and another 5 days in the ward. And I was advised to change my lifestyle. I was overweight. I was about between 95 and 98 kgs. I was very heavy. So I was advised now, those are warnings. And the doctor told me I'm lucky I got the warning because I got away from it. So I started a regime of diet and exercise and all that. Then in October, I started having upset stomachs, and I had become very sensitive about my health. So I went to see another doctor. I went to local hospitals and I would be given medication. And once the medication is finished, two weeks down the line, the same problem again. So I went and consulted a stomach. What are they called? The stomach doctors. She's called Dr. Musau. And she did a colonoscopy and an endoscopy, and they found something growing in my stomach. They took it out and they found it was cancer, stage 1B. She told me I'm one of the luckiest patients she's ever seen because stomach cancer has no symptoms, and they usually find it when it's too late. She told me at 1B to be managed.
That's how he started his journey with cancer. He went for an operation at Nairobi Hospital, and a few days later, things became worse. The next step in his journey led him to seek treatment in India, a country known for its advanced medical facilities. But there was a significant hurdle to overcome: the substantial cost of his treatment. Unfortunately, his insurance refused to cover the expenses, citing that they did not provide coverage for chronic diseases. To make matters even more challenging, he had started a company of his own after leaving his previous job. To finance his treatment, he had to make the painful decision to sell this company. This not only created significant financial difficulties for him and his family, but also presented a host of unforeseen problems.
And my kid. One of the biggest problems I came through was a problem of debt. I had some debts which I was unable to pay, and they kept on growing. And that brought a lot of stress. And one of the things about cancer is, by the way, it's caused by stress. If your lifestyle is stressful, you are heading for cancer. There's no question about it. So now it was a bit of a problem that I have debts. People want to auction me. But I was auctioned at one point. We had 3 cars that were auctioned. They wanted to auction the house.
What is auction?
they are sold by they are repossessed. The financier comes and takes your stuff and goes and sells them. The
3 cars.
We had the 3 cars.
They're taken at a go.
They were taken at a go, and they were sold at very low prices. So we even were left with a debt. Let me say I was left with a debt, not we, because it is me. My family was not in the debt. That was my business. So that has been a major struggle. I have not yet finished paying the debts. There are still some I'm working on.
Throughout his illness, Richard had to confront rumors and challenges that occasionally originated from within his own family. However, as a wise and strong man, he chose to simply disregard them.
But there are some extended family members who apparently, either from jealousy or whatnot, spread the stories that I was dead, I was going to die, and some people are valued for a very long time. Fortunately, my immediate family, my brothers and sisters and their children, are all together with me. In fact, they visited me one time. We had a major session in my home in Garden Estate, and that gave me a lot of motivation and the determination to live, because this love that I'm being shown by the family, how can I let them down? I will not let them down. Actually, it's a stupid thing, because it's got something to do with the property at home. The land we live in belonged to my grandfather. So one of the things I had processed, my grandfather, that's my father, was the first one, and he had 5 other brothers. So one of the things I had suggested was to subdivide the total property among the 6 sons, so that everybody can get their own title deed, because the title is one, and incidentally, it's in my mother's name, because by that time my father had already died. So it was registered in the name of the first family, and of course my mom. And these people felt that I was using my position. Whatever they kept on saying, this guy is too clever, he's going to defraud us, this is a ruse for him to sell this property. And, for whatever reason, I tried to explain, I couldn't. My cousins, some of them, many of them understood. But there are specific ones who even claimed that they had gone to witch doctors, that this cancer was not normal, that it was because of witchcraft. But of course, I know this is a normal. These are normal things. So, I don't have a problem with that. So as we speak now, I stopped doing that project. Because I thought I've got my own property.
Why don't
let me just concentrate on what is mine. That will be sorted out by the future, whoever will be. So I think that is how those were very low moments for sure. Yes, very, very low moments.
Richard's life today is not as good as he wants it to be, but as a man, he continues to do everything he can to stand up for his pride, and also says that his life is very long and full of lessons that will benefit everyone.
In fact, I've sold some in Japan.
Dia bay, a yara hosem. Uti papa no narration a oma. Any baby or free, any baby a wabidruya. Now busa home questions maybe the would trim say, Eish. Na same way, a minute told me and commit majinana. While Hesika, what kind one semu pain. And ni petty tiwanu medi agoro pain. Na you say, wo ton graphic or quine. Now him pabu shedding the real and yes ya bria. Ode to one questions been a board trim, answers been a board trim. A dinner bit me aka. Edi afa video we me didi Ekuonaba boatin obetima share na do comment nso medase
Mpenifo se bibi o wiase ntine eda ne atopnum na ne pabone fonti e wo se wo ma bambo hu hia na ne papa mu de Pro Technologies ana me kan fama wo ane Pro Technologies. We are specialized in both sales and installation of CCTV cameras. Yeton esa install CCTV cameras in the South Ghana and NASA brochure na ufi Ghana. Now peso CCTV camera installation. We need Pro Technologies and Ninsa we CCTV camera installation, electric fence, automated gate, access control, video doorbell, and intercom, and satellite TV, home theater, so upebiato, and wato, and our pesa install them out. Pro Technologies and our software. Na shenenso. Say fidye nyina from America brochime ndi sane papam na opedia manwene na ne bo anso da form meche ye no the web brochime mu ha ene e branch e wo Ghana ye ni mo bra wo bre nti sika fire nsem se fanya japade ma wo Ghana wo da na ne tene se ye san general construction so web brochire na peso si fi Ghana e dan plan bi o peso si se wa sha se dada ana afi na peso si plan bia ye besi ama eno echi so here solar power ana bamba ho nsensem bi ade woni ye ninsa wo square fa so install ana ne settings ye beye e de ama e wo Ghana ubehu yen wo mre fra denta e de wadi ache dodowa ubehu ye e wo ahie ye ne Emerlin pharmacy and what the same building. For information or WhatsApp 401-7570-300 and a plus 401-6992-254. Pro Technologies. We have the solutions for your security and home entertainment needs at affordable prices.